Eloise's friend.
Woo woo!
We're both from Vermont, and I'm visiting Eloise, who now lives in this lovely state.
Nice.
Go Burlington.
Okay, let's see.
Welcome to Chicago.
So I just recently got back from living in Ecuador
Oh wow.
for a very long time, yeah. And so I guess I've been trying to, what's that?
Exchange students.
Yeah. So I guess I've been trying to write stories that are my experience in Ecuador, but also kind of my experience of growing up and trying to sort of like connect all these parts of me. So here's just, some scrawlings. Alright. The spinning of it all, I imagine roots, a helplessness of air that reaches out towards space, the planet's belly tumbling inside of itself. A womb, the edge of the steel clanging bowls that we would use to collect the waters, the liquids of the women, round, cold, cement floors. The itching of it, sitting at their table or on the ground, and the women who did not hold their babies after birth. Too much pain and the oof of a rollover, all to the side. A body, hot jar of water, splashing up and out the rims. The washings would happen and we would wash clean a child that writhed in the light. The brown underside of all that pain, all that intensity, and we rolled and rolled, the wheels of old maroon cars. My gringa eyes never knew which cars were the right ones, but she knew the drivers, and the way their rosaries, pictures of uncles, crashed and clanked against the windows of the buses at each lurch. The spinning engines and the gravity of small breath, of people inside, the snacks and maluros that we would eat, entering and leaving, going to work. My grandmother sits at home and I wonder for her. A hospital where she gets more calls in a weary dazed state of her small stroke than she does on normal days at home. There, she gardens, drives to get groceries. I imagine her sitting at home, cooking a chicken breast for herself atop the electric stove. When Grandpa was around, he would eat cereal, pouring so much sugar on the tops that the spoonfuls of milk would come up in drippy chunks, meeting his lips, weak and gray. Yes, I'm going to do this, I think, she says. Her friend's husband has just reached out to friends asking if they won't write a brief statement, a thought to his dying wife. Only a few days left to live, she tells me, and maybe they could hear from a friend. I don't think I'll mention that I had this stroke of my own, I was lucky. It's just annoying, she tells me. No longer able to drive, the doubled vision, and she is just fine. Yes, everything's just fine, but it's this double strange vision, and I was running into furniture when I knew something was wrong. Billy and Don were down in Virginia at a small quiet funeral for her brother. And yes, we talk about Don's brother, a silence of passing, and yes, she is within the empty house, and I wonder if she gets bored. The sidelines of so many soccer games and that beat-up purple coat, and what lives under her breath. The slow ticking, and maybe we should call more often, my cousin tells me. Just give Grandma a call. Sometimes I wish we were all still there. Still together, the glory days of running laps around that brown and green house. The orange sharp rocks of the driveway, and we had to be tough enough for summer and the woods, so we even ran over the gravel of it, the bottoms of our feet turning red and tender. She never stopped us, my grandma. 4 children, and she sighed and told us to put some ice on it, wrap it all up or something. I want to see how she shined, a whole house filled with boxes and stockings and Christmas lights in the attic. Which couch does she sit? Which couch does she sit those bones down on at night? Reading glasses for the crossword, and the television that she could do without. Breathing softly over the phone. There's a secret I'll tell ya. The corn they got in Ohio is just like the yellow corn down at Grenier's stand. Pop it in a pot of boiling water, she says. Pick it right off the stalk, and if you put it in there, it'll grow sweet and soft. The ants crawl to where there is sugar. The white wall of Narcisse's shop was the first time I saw a line of them, streaming up and down like a vein, feeding on the sweet droplets that must have existed near the sink. The yellow buckets of food scraps beneath the water, the stillness of blue jugs. A plastic tablecloth, and they fed me whenever I walked in. A white bread sandwich pressed thin into the stove with butter. And Carrie, with a spatula, slowly smiling, asking me things. I didn't realize that she liked my company until the day I got up to leave. Looking at the small hot oil bubbles popping beneath the maduros in her pan, she told me to sit down, a soft voice, stay a while. And I hardly know a damn thing about this life other than the fact that it's impossible and messy and keeps turning. Gladys uses her hands to turn life around. The small clump of purple dark blood nourishment inside women, and I watch the magical thing. I watch as the belly shines with baby oil and how she can grasp it in her hands, the small bulging brown. And there is a glow within all of it. I swear there exists a soft light that comes through the pores of mother when they are holding life on the way. Gladys rubs her tummy and looks tired, stretched, still a little floja from the last read. Still in her mid-20s, yes, there is one in there, she tells her. I watch her face. No great joy, no real pain, some more work. Now she would have to prepare their home for what would happen to their body. I do not know the whole story, and it is not my place to know, but I do know that there is little space, it seems. Did an interview with Jenny, and by the time I left, the dinner table had been removed, the plates washed, and a couch dragged into the TV room. In Cayata, this is the last part, sorry, this is so long.
No, you're good.
In Cayata, the houses stand on bamboo stilts, inching up the hills like daddy long-legged spiders. Behind the abandoned fence of what looks like an old hosteleria, where empty plastic water bottles sometimes blow, browned by sand and salt. Behind there is a court where we played indoor soccer. Erika's mom taking charge of her team, making sure the muchachas run and don't get lazy. And the sun peeks down, sea wind blowing up from where the earth disappears beneath it. A birthday cake for La Cumpleañera. Field lights still glowing, laughing, white frosting and la torta spread across her face. Boy, I'm scared to lose it. The way my papi speaks and the up-down song inside his stories. His explanations, the sun, las hamacas. And I hardly know a damn thing. Rumbling cars swinging around the turn of the road heading south. The peaking rays of an orange sun.